Well, this is the first video that I've really taken with the erection of the Quanset hut, but I thought I would make this video because after watching a lot of different videos of people erecting these things, I noticed some folks were having a hard time keeping their centers, their 2-foot centers on their panels. I came up with a little home-rigged tooling here, some little devices for adjusting, and I thought I'd share that. So you know, someone is looking for an answer to the keeping centers and being able to move the building where you need it to be. Here is your solution. So what I've done is where the lap in the panels, where the lap in the panel is, up here, I took out one of the short bolts and then threaded a bolt in from the opposite direction, and I used some larger washers to help stabilize it so it doesn't damage the bore hole in the sheet metal, and then nutted it on pretty good. And I bought these turnbuckles at a local hardware store, and what I had to do in order to get the right length was I got a threaded coupling and used some threaded rod to create a working span that is in the 24-inch range, plus or minus. And I do 2 of them. So I'm down here where I'm putting my anchor bolts in, and I'm actually doing the anchors that are on the other side of the ridges because they're kind of the most critical of the anchors. So, because that's where all your bolts from that point go all the way across the span of the building. So what I basically have done is I started I got my middle ridge, which I believe is this one here. I got it centered in my slab, and then I anchored it. And then I used my turnbuckle tools from that point to work left to center and right to center, and then just kept pulling everything back in because pretty much everything was greater than 24 inches. So I put my turnbuckle on, and you can see right here that I'm at 12 foot 1 inch, and I'm going in 2-foot increments. So I have to pull this back an inch and put it right on that 12-foot mark. So let me put on my glove here real quick, because I will give you a little warning. If you try and twist these turnbuckles in bare hands, they'll pinch you. So with my turnbuckle on here, I turn my buckle. Now remember, this point here is anchored in. There's a wedge anchor on the other side holding it right there. So it's not going to go anywhere. This is the one that's going to move. So what I do is I'll turn this one and get some decent tension on it, which it's got. And then I'll come up to this one and kind of match the tension. And you can hear things creak a little bit, and the bolts get torqued on a little bit, and they want to kind of bend in the direction that you're pulling. And then I'll come down here, we'll do that again. And also what I do is I'll come on the building and I'll push it a bit too. And I'll use this wood blocking here, and I've got a maul or a sledgehammer that you can hit and tap it in the direction that you need your panel to go, and the turnbuckle will keep it from bouncing back, and then you can keep moving it in that direction. It's kind of tough to do everything holding the camera and doing that process, because it requires two hands to hold the block and swing the sledgehammer. And so I'm gonna make my adjustments. I'm gonna stop the video here for a second, and I'm gonna make some adjustments, and I'll come back and I'll show you my panels sitting right at the 12-foot mark there, which is where the center should be. So we're gonna move this panel an inch here, and I'll come back to it in just a second.